Okay, so what should the practicing women do? So the question of marrying more than one person. Try to marry someone who's not practicing, remain not married, or try to find someone already married. This is something I can't answer for you, right? This is something, it there's no chapter in a fiqh book that says in this scenario do this. Here what you do, you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance. Pray the istikhara prayer and ask Allah to send you some, something good. Sometimes it is better to marry someone who's not practicing, as long as he's a decent person and he won't mistreat you. Then yes, sometimes a marriage to that person, as long as he's not preventing you from practicing your deen, uh, he provides for you. And in this situation, what he's gonna end up with on the day of judgment is on him. And as long as he doesn't prevent the lady from practicing, and doesn't prevent their children from practicing the deen, although it's not the ideal situation, but sometimes that might be better. And sometimes remaining unmarried is a fitna and a tribulation, right? Why? Because of temptation. And so marriage in the form of marriage would be better than ending up in a situation where someone's commits zina. So that's and then the third situation, marrying someone who's already married. um you could try this. Generally, um it's in societies, or in cultures where it's the norm, it's a lot easier. In cultures where it's not the norm, it can be hard. Like for example, a lady, especially a lady in this situation, like, a lesson from the seerah for ladies, right? That sometimes, um you know it's prudent to use the approach of Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha. What did she do? She was considering the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she sent someone, go speak to him, is he interested in marrying, and then just say, okay, I'll help you get married, and suggest so and so, as opposed to you know not knowing and just sitting there, right? That may work. Okay, so approaching someone who's already married, in some cases the person might be married and the marriage is fine, and bringing in this unknown element may cause conflict between the husband, the existing spouse. So that's, I suppose you can't tell unless you unless you find out. But in a situation like this, it's best to ask through another, go, unless you trust the person, and that they're not likely to you know um cause a fitna through it. But if marrying a person is gonna likely to cause issues in his first marriage, major issues, then it's probably best not to do that, right? But like I said, and sometimes it's fine. There are cases where people have more than one wife, and and everyone's happy, right? And the first wife will babysit the children from the first two marriages, and then sometimes the second wife babysits, and then they go, I don't know. Anyway, so there's no hard and fast rule, as I'm saying. The rules about not wronging the wives and providing for them and the other things, they're in place. And so for a lady, it's up to you. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance, and do what's best for your deen, dunya, and akhirah. Allah, Allah bless you. Okay. What about when the parties in question are uneducated about their rights and more adherent to a South Asian backward mentality? Here, then, firstly, get acquainted with your rights and responsibilities. No one should jump into a marriage without knowing what's a marriage. If it's all about warm, fuzzy feelings that you get when you look at someone, then that warm, fuzzy feeling disappears. Or, you know, you could love someone, but sometimes principles matter more to a person than even their love, right? And so what if you marry someone and there's no solid foundation to base this marriage on, like, i.e. the deen, Islam. And so then, if you don't know what a marriage is and what's expected, just jumping into a marriage is going to cause problems, right? Because what is it? It's just two people who may have an attraction for each other, but they've also got their own egos, right? One wants things their way, and the other one things their way, and the husband has to realize, I have to provide for this person. It sounds fun, initially, but a lot of guys struggle with this, and then the tightness, the miserliness kicks in. I've lost track of how many times I've heard about, so and so's, doesn't spend on his wife and children. He'll buy himself something, but he doesn't spend on anyone else, and there are problems like this. So you learn beforehand, right? And like how to, like if a man, if it comes to it, if it comes to divorcing, how to divorce, right? And for reference for that, go listen to this same live stream that I did last week at this time, and I covered that one. And as for adherent to the South Asian background, you get that one cleared first. The South Asian or the Indo-Pak background. A lot of times, the social element is at odds with Islam, and not only is it at odds, it's harmful. It's very harmful for like insisting that that the couple live with the in-laws. In some situations, it's very healthy, and in other situations, it's horrible because the mother-in-law, the daughter-in-law are at odds, and the husband's stuck, and he can't. He's been guilt tripped all his life. You're gonna get married, you're gonna ditch us, right? So he can't stand up. So and then, so you have to approach. My advice is learn how the Prophet was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, approach things like this. You see some people who you know you know some ladies get married and they get mistreated because the husband won't move out with them, and some, you see other cases where they got married and they moved out, and then she's like, I don't want to have anything to do with your family, and for no reason. No, it's just not cool, I don't like it, right? So you have to understand, akhlaq and good character and how to be with people. This is part of Islam, right? And if you want this ideal lifestyle and me, my penthouse suite with my husband and no one else, and that's not reality, right? For most people anyway. So learn your akhlaq, right? Learn how to change and adapt, for the greater good. Yes, don't put yourself in a harmful situation, but learn how to adapt. If you've got a specific question, I can answer that. But a lot of the time, culture is more detrimental than people realize. And sometimes it's a means of preserving Islam. So it's not, eh, it's only when it's at odds with Islam is it a problem.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول